Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Speed Paint. I'm actually cutting it really close with this one. I really didn't know what to draw for it, and then I also just didn't feel like working on the video for it, so this is like Thursday night that I'm recording this, which usually I have this done by Wednesday, or at least I try to. But what I decided to do this week was actually to redesign one of my characters. I've done a redesign for her in a speed paint before. That was for my What Happened to Jade Unshaken video. But I was never 100% satisfied with that design. And afterwards I made the overly cutesy style of the trio. So basically what I wanted to do for this video was to redesign her and kind of take from both of those versions. Even though, the cutesy version is just like a one-off drawing. I never intended for any of them to actually wear those things. It was just for a cute picture. But I wanted to take those details and sort of make a new design for Amy, along with giving her a cape and a bag to hold her book to sort of fulfill the more fantasy-like version of her, because all three of these characters I am going to have in my OC world, that is for my comic that I'll make eventually. I was just working on the map for that. I have a basic idea of a map for that OC world, and then yesterday I was just basically messing it all up, replacing different towns in different places and redeciding where different characters go in each place. Amy here and her friends Jaden and Em, that are usually drawn as a trio, those three, along with a bunch of other characters, not all of them are from my old story Jaden Unshaken, but generally a bunch of characters are going to be in a place called Gear Springs. I wanted to sort of make that place turn into the sort of technology and science hub of the world. Although, of course there's still a lot of magic in this world. So I wanted to have her outfit be a little bit fantasy. But in general, the outfits in this world for my OCs are a little bit modern. They're not really that sort of ancient fantasy, I should say. Like D&D, I guess. I don't really feel inspired by those outfits and stuff, so I go more modern for my designs. Saying all this out loud makes me think I could redesign all these characters, but add a slight bit of futuristic elements to them, since they're supposed to be the tech hub, but I'm not really inspired by that. Not to mention also, the idea of Gear Springs was also to sort of be like a steampunk-esque place, and you can't really get that idea from any other outfits, so, I guess I still have a lot to go, but I still really enjoy how this design came out. Although again, when it comes to Amy, I've really struggled with her design and how I want her to look. So all this stuff is always subject to change, but I thought you may enjoy watching me do this anyway. A funny thing was, actually, when I started to redesign this, I started off, with the head, basically, so I could get an idea of the hair, and then I basically just drew the same hair, and I don't know what it is. I was just yeah, I'm gonna change her hair, and then I didn't change her hair. So but the thing is, I love her little side ponytail, and then I love it being a half up, half down do. And I also really like her little strand of dyed red hair, so I ended up keeping it. Again, I guess I'll try to work harder on changing that in the future, but I still think it's really cute. The thing I changed most about it was in the coloring stage I make it more pink rather than her peachy toned hair, which I think is good. I mean, I really wanted to try to keep the peach tone, but when I actually did the rest of the color scheme for this outfit, there ended up being a lot more reds and pinks than there was in the last design, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make her hair more pink, and she'll match her outfit a little bit better. So in this world of mine, the magic powers that people have are called charms. You can have more than one charm, it just depends on how you train with them, what ends up being stronger at whatever time. But so, of course, Amy would have a fire charm, because, she's always been the fire character in the little trio of hers. So she'd have a fire charm, and I'm not sure how I wanted to pick that, because in the past I've had her, fully become engulfed in flames. That was in, the Jade Unshaken era. Basically inspired by stuff like the Fantastic Four's Torch, where he's, completely on fire, and that's kind of how she was. But then, before I had that iteration of Amy, she just kind of had fire powers. And her whole thing was, back when I designed her when I was 12, it was that she's really cute and nice, the more mature of the trio. Nowadays, that's not really the case, but back when I first designed her, she was supposed to be the more mature one. And I even made a little animation of her. The concept was, when she would sleep, she would become not a fire monster, but she would end up blasting people with fire as she was sleepwalking, basically. And she never meant to do it and all that stuff. Again, she was a really nice girl. So what that became in Jade Unshaken, my old story, that has been scrapped, she ended up being like someone who accidentally set fire to like her home, and it was this big disaster. And she ended up hating herself for it and all this stuff, and I just don't like how I went down that path and just really ruined her life. So I want to step back from that, but I want her to have that sort of like reluctance to use her fire, but she's still extremely powerful with it. I don't really want her to be one of those characters who uses her fire when she's angry, you know? That's not really what I want for her. I could lean further into that sleeping thing and be like, she can only fight with her fire when she's asleep, similar to Zenitsu from Demon Slayer, I guess. Even though that's a horrible origin of inspiration, but it could be fun. The thing I was doing with her was that she, is always holding this book nowadays when I draw her in her new designs. And the basic concept for that was that I wanted her to sort of be, using spells from the book. Like, she's kind of a smart character, so I figured, like, oh, she'd be a wizard type. But then I was thinking about it, and, like, that's really not what I want for her character. I want the power to be coming from her and not something like she's reading. I want it to be more spontaneous than her usual, like, very learned self. I really like that contrast of how she's, so smart and stuff, but then her power just totally comes natural to her, and even, happens when she doesn't mean it to. So I'm not super sure what I want to do with that book, But I was thinking maybe she could be like, whenever she feels like she's about to have an outburst or something, then she imbues all her magic energy into the book. I was starting to think it might just be more interesting if instead of like getting information from the book, she's like applying her magic to it. And thus it would kind of be becoming a really strong book. Like, if someone picked it up, they'd basically be able to use her charm. That could be cool. I also have to figure out how I want to keep her little, like, issue with sleeping, though. Because I did add in, like, dark circles to her eyes for this picture. And I kind of really want to keep that for, like, her future drawings and all that. Like, maybe she keeps the book close when she sleeps, and it, takes her energy away as she is sleeping, because that's when it's the strongest, so that she doesn't destroy her room as she's just sleeping. But in saying that, I also realized that there was a concept for cursed items in my world, and that concept was, like, the object would be taking away your energy. I could think about making the book cursed, but the thing is, like, she would want it to be cursed, so I don't know. I mean, maybe that's interesting for her character, that she has a cursed book and she likes it that way. I'll really have to brainstorm on that one. Now that I have this idea for the book, maybe it could be that she, like, continuously is imbuing this book with her energy, and then when, like, something comes up, then she has, like, a ton of energy stored up in this book that even though she herself isn't at her full capacity because she's always giving it to the book, she still has access to all of it and can use it when needed, and, like, she's not accidentally exploding and stuff like that. That actually could be a good route to take, now that I think of it, because then it would, give her that reason to keep the book around and, like, use it within a battle, and now it kind of makes sense. So I guess through talking all this out, I figured it out. Oh, also, I was just thinking that this book would probably have some sort of cap, like it can't just keep continuously taking all her magic. It just can't keep taking all of it and then just never have a cap. So what if she has, like, a whole bookshelf full of books that are just all full of fire energy? Like it would be a fun reveal, I feel like, of being like, oh, you destroy the book, like, haha, now you don't have all your powers. But then, of course, actually, she just has a bunch of those books on a shelf somewhere in, like, her room or something. I was also thinking, like, she would probably have a philosophy of, like, I don't like people who use their charms when they're angry, or, like, use their power out of anger, don't even think about it. Like, that might be her philosophy and why she's, like, imbuing all of her energy into the book so that she can only use it when she's thinking clearly, That could be a good contrast to a lot of the other fire characters who are always just like actions first, think later, I don't know, I really like that. I hope you enjoyed hearing me brainstorm about all that. I know it was just this one drawing and one design for this video, but I hope you liked it. I ended up having a lot of fun myself. Make sure you're subscribed and like the video. YouTube loves when I tell you to do that. Let me know in the comments what you think about how I came to this conclusion for Amy, and what you think of the new design. Thank you to my patrons for supporting me, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.